The alarm buzzed at 5 a.m. Sharp as a slap. Emma Carter groaned softly, silencing it with the practiced grace of someone who hadn't known rest in months. The air was still, cool, and smelled faintly of old lavender and cheap detergent. Home. She swung her legs over the side of the bed, her feet landing on the cold hardwood floor of her aunt's tiny Brooklyn apartment. A single shaft of morning light pierced through the window, cutting across the room like a silent promise. Another day. Keep going. Emma tied her curly hair back into a loose bun and tiptoed past her Aunt Gloria's room. The older woman had just returned from a night shift cleaning rooms at the Elmont Royale Hotel, one of the most luxurious spots in New York City, where chandeliers sparkled like frozen stars and marble floors clicked under red-bottom heels. Emma didn't want to wake her. Aunt Gloria, the woman who had raised her since she was 9, deserved that rest. She had given Emma everything when the world had taken her parents in a car accident. Emma had never forgotten that. She brewed some cheap coffee and sat at the small kitchen table, flipping through her psychology textbook. Finals were only a week away. If she failed, it meant retaking the course, money they didn't have. If she passed, it was one step closer to a full-time job, maybe even grad school someday. Dreams are expensive, she thought, but quitting costs more. By noon, Emma had completed 2 online quizzes, walked a neighbor's dog for $10, and was helping Gloria prepare lunch when it happened. Aunt Gloria suddenly gripped the counter and stumbled back, her breath shallow. "What's wrong?" Emma caught her just in time. Gloria waved her hand. "It's just, my chest feels tight. I haven't been sleeping well." Emma helped her sit. "You're not going in tonight." "But sweet girl, tonight's the VIP event. I can't miss it. They said, if I skip one more shift, I'll go." Gloria blinked. "What? I'll cover your shift. Just for tonight." Gloria frowned. "Emma, that hotel's no place for you. Those guests, that staff, they look down on cleaners, like we're invisible." "I already am invisible," Emma said with a soft smile. "What's one more night?" Gloria touched her hand, eyes filled with both pride and worry. "Just don't forget who you are in that place. They'll try to make you feel small." Emma hugged her. "Then I'll just remind myself I come from strong women." That evening, dressed in her aunt's oversized uniform and armed with a hotel pass, Emma stepped into the Elmont Royale Hotel. The moment she crossed the lobby threshold, her breath caught. Crystal chandeliers hung like glowing galaxies. A grand piano played itself near a velvet lounge. The air smelled of rosewood and rich cologne. Everyone here walked like they owned time itself. She didn't belong, but tonight wasn't about belonging. It was about helping her aunt, so she straightened her back and walked toward the staff entrance. The first few hours went smoothly. She cleaned private hallways and touched up luxury suites where the pillows were fluffed with precision and water bottles cost more than her week's groceries. She tried to stay unnoticed, and she succeeded, until destiny noticed her. It was around 9:30 p.m. when she stepped into the quiet garden lounge behind the hotel. Her break had just started. Tired and overwhelmed, Emma slipped off her gloves and wiped her brow. Her uniform coat was hot, so she unzipped it slightly, revealing the simple navy blue turtleneck she wore underneath. She didn't realize someone was watching her. "Excuse me, miss," a soft voice called. Emma turned. An elderly woman in an elegant shawl struggled with her phone. "I can't seem to call my son. Could you help?" Emma approached with a kind smile and fixed the issue in seconds. "Thank you, dear. Are you staying here?" Emma froze. Before she could answer, the woman added, "No need to be shy. You remind me of my granddaughter, so poised, even in simple clothes. That's rare these days." Emma laughed nervously, not confirming or denying. She helped the woman to her table and walked away. But that small moment, it was seen by someone who rarely missed anything. From the shadows of the patio entrance, Liam Donovan, dressed in a crisp black suit, leaned against the railing, his eyes following Emma with curiosity. He had seen her earlier near the staff hallway, then again now, talking to his grandmother, Margaret Donovan. There was a quiet humility in the way she carried herself, no forced smile, no fake laugh. She hadn't recognized him, which only intrigued him more. He had everything, billions in tech patents, boardrooms that bent to his will, but real connection, that was rare. And tonight, it might have just walked by in worn sneakers and a hotel coat. Hook-ending strong cliffhanger. Later that night, as Emma exited through the staff corridor, her shift finally over, she saw him standing by the elevator, tall, confident, watching her. He stepped forward with a smile that was both amused and intrigued. "You're not like the others here," he said. Emma's heart skipped. She looked around, unsure. "Excuse me, I meant it as a compliment." He extended a hand. "Liam." Emma hesitated. She could lie, she could run, or she could shake his hand and change everything. She took his hand, Emma, and just like that, one night turned into the beginning of everything. For a moment after shaking his hand, Emma felt the world tilt, just a little, not because Liam Donovan was handsome, though he was, with storm gray eyes, sharp features, and an effortless charm that clung to him like a well-fitted suit. It wasn't even because she recognized him as the tech mogul everyone whispered about in the media. It was the way he looked at her, not like a cleaner, not like someone trying to impress him. He looked at her like she mattered, and that was a dangerous feeling. They stepped out into the hotel's side garden, where soft fairy lights danced above trimmed hedges, and the distant hum of city traffic served as background music. Emma kept her arms crossed, half from the cold, half from nervousness. "So Emma," Liam began, his voice smooth, almost playful, "what brings someone like you to a place like this?" Her heart skipped. The question hovered, open, weightless, but it carried a risk. She smiled gently, eyes focused on the fountain behind him. "Let's just say, I'm filling in for someone tonight." He raised an eyebrow, sensing layers he couldn't yet read. He nodded. "Undercover, I get it." She chuckled, "Something like that." Liam leaned back slightly, taking her in. "You're different, you don't pretend. That's rare around here." Emma met his eyes, and for the first time, didn't look away. "Maybe because I'm not trying to impress anyone." And there it was, that spark. Not fireworks, not drama, just two souls standing under hotel lights, talking like they'd known each other longer than 10 minutes. He asked if she'd like to join him for coffee at the hotel cafe. Her first instinct was to say no. This was dangerous. He thought she was a guest, or at least someone more than she was, and if she stayed any longer, this illusion could become addictive. But something in her, something lonely, soft and starved for moments like this, made her nod. So she sat across from him at a marble table, steam curling up from 2 mugs, while a pianist played something smooth and jazzy in the distance. He told her about his work, without bragging, about how success had never filled the silence in his penthouse, how trust was rare when everyone either feared you, used you, or tried to impress you. Emma listened, her chin resting on her hand, a faint smile on her lips. "Sounds lonely," she said gently. Liam blinked. No one had ever said it that plainly before. "It is," he admitted. She didn't offer sympathy, just understanding. Then he turned the question, "What about you? What do you do?" Emma froze. She thought of her aunt's oversized coat folded in the break room, of the bleach on her hands, of the mop bucket 2 floors down, and she chose silence. "I'm still figuring that out," she said softly. It wasn't a lie, just not the whole truth. But Liam didn't push. "I like that," he said.
People who don't have all the answers yet, they're the ones worth getting to know. When they stood to leave, the clock read just past midnight. Emma's shift had technically ended hours ago, but time had slipped through her fingers like sand. Outside the cafe, near the elevators, they paused. "I'd like to see you again," Liam said, his voice lower now, more certain. Emma's breath caught. "I'm not sure that's a good idea," she whispered, eyes on the floor. "Why?" "Because I'm a cleaner. Because if you knew the truth, you'd never look at me the same way again. Because I'm scared of how much I already like you." Instead she smiled faintly, and said, "Maybe we'll run into each other." As she turned to leave, Liam reached gently for her wrist, just a touch, not a grab. It sent warmth flooding through her. "I hope we do." Back at home, Emma tossed in bed, unable to sleep. She replayed every word, every look. Part of her wanted to tell her aunt everything. Another part wanted to keep it locked away like a secret gift, untouched by judgment or reality. The next morning, Gloria noticed the look on her face. "You met someone," she said knowingly, placing a cup of tea beside Emma. Emma smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "It's nothing." Gloria sat beside her. "Be careful, baby. People like us, when we walk into their world, they don't always hold the door open." Emma nodded, her chest heavy. "I know." 2 days later, Emma returned for another shift, this time not by accident. She needed the extra hours. Her textbooks weren't going to pay for themselves. As she entered the service hallway, her heart pounded. What if he's here? What if he isn't? Half of her prayed she'd see him. The other half dreaded it. She didn't expect to find him standing in the lobby, talking to a staff manager. When he saw her, he smiled, genuinely. Like seeing her was the best part of his day. "Emma," he called out, walking toward her. Vanessa, the front desk supervisor, glanced up, confused. Emma froze. He noticed the cleaning gloves in her hand, the name tag pinned to her faded uniform. For a second, something flickered in his eyes, but then it was gone. He smiled anyway. "Are you free later tonight?" Vanessa's jaw twitched. Emma hesitated. "I don't think that's a good idea." Liam stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I don't care what you do here. I care who you are." Emma's breath caught. The walls around her heart cracked just a little. "Okay," she whispered. "One coffee." That night, their coffee turned into laughter, stories, and long glances that lingered a second too long. Emma told him about her dream to start a counseling center for young girls in underprivileged communities. Liam listened like no one ever had. Not once did he look at his phone. He spoke about losing his father young, about building his empire not for glory, but to prove he could. They were two very different people, but in the space between their lives, something began to grow, delicate, hesitant, real. As Emma walked back toward the staff hallway, later that night, her heart felt light, too light. And that's what scared her most. She was falling, and he didn't even know who she really was. One part of her wanted to come clean, but another part, the one that longed for something beautiful, just wanted to live inside this moment a little longer, even if it was borrowed, even if it was fragile, even if it would break her. The following week blurred into something Emma had never experienced before, a life that felt like a dream she couldn't quite admit was hers. Every night after her shift at the Elmont Royale, Liam would find her, sometimes in the cafe, sometimes outside near the fountain, once unexpectedly, on the rooftop garden under fairy lights and stars. And each time, they talked, not the kind of small talk she was used to. Not flirty, shallow banter. They talked about everything: childhood scars, future fears, favorite songs, the feeling of being trapped in someone else's expectation. Emma had never felt more seen, and Liam had never felt more safe. One night, as they sat on a bench overlooking the glittering city skyline, Liam turned to her. "You ever feel like everyone expects you to be someone you're not?" he asked, his tone softer than usual. Emma, startled, looked at him. all the time. He ran his fingers through his hair, exhaling. Every time I walk into a room, they see Liam Donovan, billionaire tech genius, not the kid who used to sit on his mom's fire escape, trying to fix broken radios. Emma smiled. I see him. That simple sentence hit Liam harder than he expected. He looked at her, his eyes suddenly vulnerable. You're not like anyone I've ever met, Emma. Her heart squeezed. She wanted to tell him, now, before this turned into something too big to undo. But her throat tightened, her courage failed. So instead, she whispered, neither are you. And for a few precious minutes, silence said everything they couldn't. Another night, after a quiet walk through the hotel's hidden courtyard, Liam walked Emma to the back service hallway, where she always disappeared. It was the first time he got close enough to notice the faded name tag on her shirt, still tucked beneath her coat. Emma Carter, he read out softly, brushing his thumb gently across the tag. Emma froze. He didn't react, just stepped a little closer. His voice was low. Why do I get the feeling you're hiding something from me? She looked up at him, her pulse drumming in her ears. Because I am. He smiled, but there was a sadness in his eyes. It's okay, I'll wait until you're ready. Then so close she could smell the cinnamon on his breath, he leaned in. Their faces hovered inches apart, warm, trembling, breathless. And just when Emma thought it was about to happen, he pulled back. Good night, Emma. She stood there, long after he'd gone, her lips tingling with the kiss that almost was. Emma tossed in bed that night, haunted not by what happened, but what didn't. She thought about telling him every time they met, every time he opened his heart, every time he asked her about her world. But she couldn't do it, because as the days passed, this wasn't just a crush anymore. It wasn't pretend, it was real, and that made it terrifying. At the end of the week, Liam appeared in the staff hallway, holding a white envelope with a gold crest. Hey, he said, flashing that lopsided smile that had slowly dismantled every defense she had. What's that? She asked. He held it out. An invitation. Emma opened it and gasped. It was a VIP invitation to the Donovan Foundation Winter Gala, a black tie event attended by CEOs, artists, and elite philanthropists. I want you there, Liam said. With me. Her stomach dropped. Liam, I can't go to something like that. Why not? Because I'm a cleaner in borrowed shoes. Because I lied about who I am. Because your world will crush mine the moment they touch. I don't have anything to wear, she said, instead, dodging. Liam grinned. Then let me take care of that. No, she blurted, panic rising. Please, I can't accept that. He looked confused, even a little hurt. Emma swallowed her fear. Let me figure it out myself, please. Liam studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right, but promise you'll be there. She hesitated, then whispered, I promise. Emma stood in front of the hotel's lost and found department, staring at a dress hanging from a hook, midnight blue satin, simple, elegant, her size. The concierge smiled. Left behind by some Hollywood exec's girlfriend, never claimed. It's yours, if you want it. Emma took the dress with trembling hands. For a single night, she could walk into that ballroom like she belonged, even if it was a beautiful lie. The ballroom glittered like something from a fantasy. Strings of warm lights fell from the ceiling, like stardust. Waiters in white gloves moved silently among gold-rimmed tables. Emma stood at the entrance in her borrowed dress, her hair curled gently over one shoulder, minimal makeup, trembling like a leaf. She looked like every fairy tale girl who ever dreamed of being someone, if only for one night. Then she saw him, Liam, in a tailored black tux, turned, and for a heartbeat, his breath caught. You look. He blinked, stunned, unreal. Emma smiled nervously. You clean up okay too. They danced slowly under the chandelier, his hand at her waist, her hand against his heart. In that moment, there was no lie. Only them, only now. At one point during the gala, an older woman approached them, a friend of the family. She smiled politely at Emma. And where do you summer, darling? Emma blinked. I don't. Liam cut in smoothly, steering the conversation away. But the damage was done. Emma's cheeks burned, her chest tightened.
She didn't belong here. She never would. Later that night, standing on the hotel's rooftop once more, Liam took her hand. "I don't know what this is yet," he said, "but I know I don't want it to end." Emma looked at him, her heart breaking in slow motion, because she wanted the same thing. But she also knew the truth was coming, and when it did, it might destroy everything. She opened her mouth to speak, to finally tell him, but instead, she whispered, "Neither do I," and silently prayed that maybe, just maybe, fairy tales could survive the morning. The days after the gala passed like a slow, beautiful blur. Liam and Emma were spending more time together than ever. Coffee dates in hidden hotel corners, evening walks through Central Park, late-night phone calls that turned into whispered promises. For Emma, every moment felt like it was borrowed from a storybook, but in the back of her mind, the truth scratched like a thorn beneath velvet. "He doesn't know who I am," she thought about telling him, every single time they laughed, every time he reached for her hand. But fear would always whisper back, "What if you lose him the moment you speak?" It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when the storm hit. Emma had just finished restocking towels in a guest suite when Vanessa, the front desk supervisor, stepped into the hallway, arms crossed, a smirk playing on her lips. "You've been busy lately," she said, voice laced with sarcasm. Emma tensed. "Is there something you need, Vanessa?" "Oh, not me, but I thought he might." She held up her phone, revealing a photo. Emma, in her cleaner's uniform, exiting the staff corridor, just minutes after kissing Liam behind the service elevator 2 nights ago. Emma's blood ran cold. Vanessa tilted her head. "You know, I was wondering why the golden boy millionaire was sneaking around with you. I thought maybe he liked charity cases." "Please don't do this," Emma whispered. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "He deserves to know the truth, don't you think?" And with that, she walked away. Emma's legs gave out beneath her. The fairy tale was crumbling. That evening, Liam called her to meet him at the hotel rooftop, their favorite spot. She climbed the stairs with dread weighing heavy on her chest. She already knew. The look in his eyes confirmed it. He stood by the railing, hands in his pockets, face unreadable. "I spoke to Vanessa," he said quietly. Emma didn't reply. She couldn't. "She told me you're not a guest, that you're not visiting, that you're not who you said you were." A pause. "Then is it true?" Emma took a shaky breath. "Yes." The silence that followed was louder than a scream. Liam turned away for a second, as if the wind could blow away what he was feeling. "All this time, you let me believe something that wasn't real. I never lied to you," Emma said softly, eyes shining with unshed tears. "I just didn't tell you the whole truth." "Emma, that is a lie." Her voice cracked. "I wanted to, so many times. But every time I tried, I got scared. Because you felt like the one real thing in my life. And I didn't want to lose that." Liam looked at her, then. His eyes were raw, hurt, confused. "But you lost me anyway." She stepped toward him. "I'm still the same person, the same girl you talked to for hours, the one who danced with you, laughed with you, cared for you. But you didn't trust me with the truth." Emma's tears spilled over. "Because I thought you'd see me differently, and now you do." Liam shook his head. "It's not about what you do for a living. God, Emma, I don't care if you clean floors or run the place. I care that you didn't let me see you." Emma choked out. "I was afraid." Liam's voice broke. "And now I don't know who I was falling for." She stepped back, pain tearing through her chest like fire. "Goodbye, Emma." And just like that, he walked away. The rooftop that had once been their magical escape was now just a place where a fairy tale ended. That night,
Emma returned home in silence. Aunt Gloria sat in the living room, watching her with gentle eyes. "It happened," Emma nodded, tears running freely now. "I lost him." Gloria pulled her into her arms. "No, baby, you lost the illusion. If it was meant to be, the truth will bring him back." But in that moment, Emma didn't believe it. The next day, Emma returned to the hotel one last time. She handed an envelope to the concierge. "Please give this to Mr. Donovan." Then she walked away, head high, heart shattered. "Liam, I don't know how to make this right. I wish I could tell you that everything I felt was real, and it was. I never meant to deceive you. I never pretended to be someone else. I just let you see the part of me that I wished the world saw. I was scared to tell you the whole truth, because I thought it would make you walk away. I see now that not telling you was what made you walk away. But I want you to know this. I didn't fall in love with your title or your wealth. I fell in love with the man who talked about his mother on a rooftop. The man who looked at me like I wasn't invisible. And maybe someday, if you can forgive me, I'll still be here." Emma. Liam sat alone in his penthouse, the letter trembling in his hands. His heart ached in a way no business loss had ever made it ache, because he wasn't angry anymore. He was just lost. Days passed, then a week. Liam didn't reach out, and Emma didn't expect him to. But every time he walked past the cafe, every time he stepped onto the rooftop, it felt wrong without her. He would stand in the places they'd once laughed, his hand in his pocket, her voice echoing in memory, and something inside him whispered, "Go find her." But his pride said, she lied. Now, standing in the very garden where they'd first met, Liam looked at the empty bench, and finally whispered aloud, "I miss you." And far away, in a quiet library, where Emma now volunteered to tutor kids after school, she paused mid-sentence, because somehow, deep inside, she felt it too. Days turned into weeks. Emma continued her quiet life, attending classes, working part-time shifts, and helping kids at the local library with reading and confidence coaching. It was therapeutic. The children didn't care who she was or what mistakes she had made. They just saw her. But even with the comfort of her routine, a piece of her remained adrift, still tethered to a rooftop that once held promises she couldn't keep. Liam, on the other hand, tried to return to his own rhythm. Boardrooms, product launches, business meetings, but everything felt muted. His favorite cafe drink no longer tasted the same. His rooftop garden felt empty. The hotel felt like a hollow shell of what it used to be. He reread Emma's letter more times than he could count, and every time, her words cut deeper, not because they hurt, but because they reminded him what he lost when he let his pride speak louder than his heart. "I was scared to tell you the whole truth, because I thought it would make you walk away. I fell in love with the man who looked at me like I wasn't invisible." Liam realized something brutal in the silence that followed. Emma hadn't betrayed him. She had trusted him, just not soon enough. But he had walked away, instead of showing her the very grace he claimed to crave. One cold Thursday morning, Liam found himself sitting across from Gloria Carter, in the same apartment where Emma once brewed cheap coffee before a long shift. Gloria didn't offer him a warm welcome, but she didn't turn him away, either. "She loved you," Gloria said simply. "Still does, if you're wondering." "I know I hurt her," Liam said, his voice rough. "But I didn't know how to react. I wanted honesty so badly that I forgot how hard it is to give it when the world doesn't accept you for who you are." Gloria studied him quietly. "Are you here to apologize, or to fix something you broke?" "Both." She gave him the address of the library. "She tutors kids there now. She's building something beautiful, even with a broken heart." Liam's throat tightened. He stood, eyes glinting with something fierce. "Then it's time I earn my place beside her." Emma was helping a little girl named Jasmine read through Charlotte's Web when the door to the community library opened. She didn't look up right away, not until Jasmine whispered, "That man looks like a prince." Emma turned, and there he was. Liam, in jeans and a grey coat, hair slightly tousled, holding a single yellow tulip, her favorite. Their eyes locked. Time froze. Emma stood, slowly approaching him. She was scared her legs might give out. "Hi," he said softly, eyes filled with emotion. "You found me," she whispered. "I never stopped looking." Her voice trembled. "Why now?" he exhaled, stepping closer. "Because I realize the truth doesn't scare me. Losing you does." Emma blinked back tears. "I was so sure you hated me. I was hurt, but not because of who you are, because I knew I loved you before I ever knew your last name." She gasped. "Liam," he held out the tulip. "I didn't come here to win you back with flowers. I came to ask if I could start over, with the real you. The one who works hard, who loves fiercely, who dared to dream, even when the world kept shutting the door." Emma took the flower, her hands trembling, and in a whisper so soft it almost got lost in the quiet room, she said, "I missed you." Liam stepped forward. This time no lies, no secrets, just them. He cupped her face gently. "Can I kiss you now, without illusions?" "Just Emma and Liam." She nodded, a single tear sliding down her cheek. Their lips met, soft, slow, trembling, with everything they had been holding back. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't rushed, it was real, and it was everything. A sunny afternoon in Brooklyn, a small ribbon-cutting ceremony, outside a brick building newly painted in soft pastels. A sign reads, "The Carter Center, free mental health support and confidence training for girls." Emma stands at the center, wearing a flowing dress, surrounded by smiling volunteers and children. Beside her stands Liam, his hand gently holding hers. Reporters ask questions, flashbulbs go off. Someone says, "How did this partnership begin?" Emma smiles at Liam. He grins back and replies, "She returned a truth I wasn't ready for. I walked away from it once. I'll never do that again." Emma adds softly, "And he reminded me that love isn't about where you come from. It's about where you grow together." They kiss again, as the crowd claps. Later that evening, Emma and Liam walked through Prospect Park beneath golden street lamps. They didn't hold hands at first. There was something sacred about silence when love had been cracked and repaired. "Do you still think about that night?" she asked, her voice almost carried away by the wind. "The gala?" She nodded. "All the time," Liam said. "But not because it was magical, because it was real." She glanced at him, confused. "I thought it was a dream at first," he explained. "That dreams don't come with guilt, or choices, or scars. That night, I fell for someone who had the courage to walk into a world that tried to exclude her, and still stood tall." Emma swallowed hard. "I didn't feel tall, but you were," he said. "And now, you don't need to be anyone else." They stopped at a quiet bench. Liam turned to her. "I need you to know something." Emma looked up. "I don't want to rescue you, Emma. I don't want to be the guy who comes in and makes your life perfect. I just want to stand beside you while you make it powerful." She leaned against his shoulder, whispering, "That's all I ever wanted." A week later, Emma invited Liam to her part of Brooklyn, not the side with art galleries and rooftop bars. She took him to the corner shop, where she and Gloria used to buy groceries on sale, to the bookstore she cleaned every Friday night, to the community center, where she'd started reading to kids 3 years ago. "This is me," she said, standing in front of a graffiti-covered mural, painted by local teens. No marble floors, no candlelit rooftops. Liam didn't flinch. He smiled. "It's beautiful," he said, "because it's yours." He walked closer, touching her hand. "And because I see you here, and I still love you here." Emma's heart swelled. It wasn't just that he loved her, it was that he loved all her truths. One rainy Sunday, they sat curled on the couch in Gloria's apartment. Gloria was out for church. A jazz record played in the background. Emma laid her head on Liam's chest, listening to his heartbeat. "You ever get scared you're not enough?" she whispered. Liam looked down. "Every day. I've got boardrooms full of people who think I'm a genius. And still, sometimes I sit alone and wonder if I'm just pretending." Emma looked up at him, eyes wide. "Really?" He nodded. She smiled faintly. "Then I guess we're both imposters." "No," Liam said softly. brushing his fingers down her cheek. We're just human. He leaned in and kissed her, slow, sure, present. This time, the kiss wasn't the start of a fantasy, it was a choice. 2 months later, Liam stood in the front row at Emma's graduation ceremony. She wore a simple dress beneath her robe, her hair pulled back, her expression one of quiet triumph. When her name was called, Emma Carter, Bachelor of Psychology, the applause echoed, but Liam's voice rose above it all. She did it, he shouted, grinning like a man who just won the world. After the ceremony, Emma threw her arms around him. I almost didn't make it, she said. But you did, he replied, and that's why I love you. 6 months later, at the Carter Center's ribbon cutting, Emma gave a short speech before a crowd of community leaders, volunteers, donors, and kids who once thought they were invisible. I used to think success meant changing who you are, she said, into the microphone. Now I know, it means accepting who you are, and creating space for others to do the same. Liam wiped away a tear from the back row. After the crowd dispersed, he found her behind the podium. I have something to ask, he said, reaching into his coat. Emma's eyes widened, heart skipping. He pulled out a small velvet box, but when he opened it, there was no ring, just a tiny, delicate silver key. Emma blinked, surprised. It's to my place, Liam said, with a smile. It's not a proposal. Not yet, but I'd like us to stop pretending we don't need each other. Emma looked at the key, then at him, her eyes full. You already had the key, she whispered, to everything. She stepped into his arms, and the world at last felt complete. Real love isn't about fairy tales or perfection. It's about staying, even after the truth unravels the illusion, and choosing each other anyway.